Hello and welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Well, today we move right along through our quest through Scripture. We are starting in Matthew chapter 8 today, so I'm quite excited to be doing that. And today we're going to be covering Matthew chapter 8, verses 1 through 3. And these are very significant passages, and I think sometimes these passages get lost in translation between the ancient and modern world. But here we go. Matthew chapter 8, verses 1 through 3 say, "When Jesus had come down from the mountain, great crowds followed him, and there was a leper who came to him and knelt before him, saying, 'Lord, if you choose, you can make me clean.' He stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, 'I do choose. Be made clean.' Immediately his leprosy was cleansed." This is a very significant passage. Leprosy in Jesus' time would make leprosy would make one ceremonially unclean, and we could see this in Leviticus 13 verses 1 through 59 and Numbers chapter 5 verses 1 through 4. Now, leprosy is a horrible disease. However, in Jesus' time, leprosy was more than what we call Hansen's disease today. It was also things like eczema, psoriasis, acne, lupus, ringworm, things like that. So there were a lot of people who had what at the time they called leprosy. And it was a terrifying disease, and there was no known cure. If a person contracted the contagious type of leprosy, where there's boils on your skin, things like that, a priest declared him a leper and banished him from his home. I mean, this is serious stuff. He was banished. The afflicted person was sent to live in a community outside of the city with other lepers, and he had to stay there either until he got better or until he died. This is something very significant. The leper comes to Jesus. The leper comes to Jesus. You see, that when someone had leprosy, it was prescribed for them, if they came near someone who didn't have leprosy, to wave their hands in the air and say, "Unclean, unclean." The leper didn't do that. The leper said, "If you choose, you can heal me." And Jesus, a Jewish man, also divine, yes, but for culturally speaking, a Jewish man, touches him. He touches him. This is huge. We can't lose fact of this significant part. You see, if you were living in those times and you touched a leper, you also became unclean. You had to go live in that community. Jesus touches him and heals him. This is also like sin in many respects. We all have sin. Don't say you don't. We all have sin, and only Christ's healing touch can heal our soul and take away our sin. Like the leper, we can't cure ourselves. It's only through Christ where we can be cured of our sin. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the Daily Bible Podcast. I appreciate you joining me each and every day as we journey through Scripture. If you enjoy the show, please rate it, please share it, and as always, if you have any prayer requests, any questions, please feel free to email me at hopewithin18@gmail.com. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.